Alright, good afternoon, ladies. This screencast is going to serve as the beginning of our Chapter 6 notes, so you will need to go to Moodle and download the Chapter 6 outline. So, after the War for Independence had been won, the patriots and kind of just the leaders of the Americans involved in that war effort and the planning of it, they decide that when it comes time to create a new government for America, they want to create a system where the national government is limited. They do not want a very large central government that has too much power and control because they are fearful of what they had in England happening again. So they want to purposely kind of make a weaker central government and give more power to the states themselves. So when the war was still being fought, the Second Continental Congress passed what would become the first government of the United States, and that was called the Articles of Confederation. Within the Articles of Confederation, there was only one branch of government, the legislative branch, meaning there was really only Congress. Congress was the only body of the government. No president, no Supreme Court. Each state would have one vote in Congress. Passing laws would require a 2/3 majority within all of Congress. And any sort of change to the articles or amendment to a law would require a unanimous vote, meaning every state would have to approve a change in any laws. According to the Articles, the central government had the powers to declare war, make peace, make treaties with foreign nations, settle disputes between states, borrow money, print money. But what they did not have the power to do is regulate trade, and more importantly, Congress had no power to collect taxes. Now, it's understandable why the colonies and the states, I don't want to call them colonies anymore, now they're states. It's understandable why the states would not want the government to be able to tax, because they just got out of that kind of terrible situation with England. But when you have no authority to tax, then you have no authority to have revenue or have money. So in general, the Articles of Confederation have made our central government very, very, very weak. The event that really kind of portrays the failure of the Articles is known as Shays' Rebellion, and that is what y'all are currently watching the documentary about. So, within Massachusetts, and really the colonies in general, especially the New England area, the states are kind of in economic debt. State governments are struggling to stay afloat, and they need to pay off debt, and they don't really have money. They're going to start implementing taxes in effort to raise revenue from within the states. Now, many of the citizens in these states, especially the farmers, are suffering. Farmers really had to kind of step away from the farm and take a cut in profits while they were fighting the war for independence. And now they're really suffering. And keep in mind also, farming's still kind of, in general, the backbone of the economy as a whole of the colonies. So many states start giving tax cuts to farmers, but the state of Massachusetts does not give a tax cut to farmers. They do not feel that the farmers deserve like an extra special tax cut, because a lot of people in Massachusetts are not making money through farming. Most of them are doing trade through like the port city of Boston. So they don't have a super large farming class, but enough to, that it affects people. Basically, Massachusetts residents are going to start protesting all these taxes, and a leader named Daniel Shays will emerge. He was a former officer and they turn to him as a leader, and he calls for basically a armed force to force the courthouses to close so that they cannot arrest anyone or take anyone's property away when farmers can't pay these taxes that they can't afford to pay. Eventually it grows into a full-on rebellion, and Massachusetts will eventually be able to put down the rebellion. So it was unsuccessful for Daniel Shays' mission, but what he was able to do, though, is show not only Massachusetts, but the rest of the country that many were suffering, and the Congress and the government of the United States had no power to help ease this tense situation, since they were given no powers to kind of manage the affairs of the states themselves. It was completely up to the state, and because of that, we almost had a huge civil war so soon into our existence. So Daniel Shays' rebellion basically proves that the Articles of Confederation were an ineffective form of government and that it needed to change. And that's what we will discuss in tomorrow's screencast. So please pause where you are now, write down any questions you have, and I will see y'all tomorrow.